The PSBA is committed to diversity, inclusion, and equity work. As an organization based in Tacoma, Washington, we acknowledge the Puyallup tribe and invite you to visit the official website of the Puyallup and listen to their land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup tribe. The Puyallup people have lived on and stewarded these lands since the beginning of time and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step toward true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land and beyond.
Thank you for everyone for coming, and those of you who will be watching this recorded. Jane cannot be with us today and sends her regrets, but will be able to watch the recording. She's spending time with her husband who needs some care. And she asked me, Pietro, to say that she so welcomes you, and she has fond memories and papers from a workshop that she took previously. And along those lines, asked me to remind everyone that there are a couple of places remaining in the workshop. If anyone knows anyone that would like to come, spread the word. And I wanted to just say that, you're part of this series that we're doing on color, and every color medium attaches to its surface in a very different way that is directly related to the way that it goes on to that surface. And I remember the first time I saw paper marbling with Don Guyot in Palo Alto and was smitten, as we all are. And I can't wait to see what you have to show us. So thank you for agreeing to come and be part of this series and for teaching. We're so glad to have you here.
Hello, everybody, and who watch this later. So I have prepared like 150 photographs. Okay, so it will be a very colorful presentation. And yes, so paper marbling. It starts with a book. Okay. In my youth, I was exposed to book with marble paper, or on the cover, or in the end paper. Okay, the magic years of marble paper, I think there are in 1800, 1900. Okay, that was where the most beautiful books were produced with marble paper. So this is a book from London. Okay, 1878. Then this is another beautiful book from Paris. Okay, it's called Magique Magnétique, and you can see Paris. Okay, 1858, with a beautiful paper. And the characteristic of these books, they were marble, even the edge of the paper. Okay, so that's where I got my inspiration, seeing some marble book. And then I grew up in a printer shop in the 70s in Italy. And so I grew up in between paper, cardboard, ink, letterpress, font, and was natural to me to have a bachelor in graphic art, where they taught me about bookbinding, and somebody gave me a kit, a marbling kit from Germany. And so that's when I started to do my little experiment in marbling the paper. I have no master. Mistakes are my general master. Okay, I made millions of mistakes. Okay, so then I opened my own business of book restoration. So I was working with libraries, And that these are some pictures of books that I have done. They are hiding in the library of Torino. Was my the town where I was born is 1.5 million citizens in the north of Italy. And so that was the book I was doing, my marble paper. And then on the spine, I was using brown leather and write the title of books. Okay, that's what I did in Italy, let's say in my past life before coming here. Also, this is a young Pietro. I was working for a very nice stationery store. This is the picture. It was in the downtown Torino, and I was doing boxes for closet. You can see there I'm bringing 2 boxes made with the paper, printed paper, and so that was something that I was doing. Um, so box making became my second thing that I was doing, and see, I was doing some little box with my marble paper, and I was selling them to the malls for Christmas. Okay, and the incredible thing, I was selling them. I was competing with millions of things during the Christmas time, but then somebody recognized my sense of beauty. Okay, so this was a rewarding for me. Okay, you can see these are very small box, round, square, octagonal. Okay, another picture of this boxes. Um, so so this is my background, um, and then I came here, and so for one reason or another, a friend meeting a friend of a friend, I start teaching in San Francisco, the Center of the Book. San Francisco Center of the Book is a beautiful place for letterpress and book binding, and also paper marbling. So I started teaching 10 years ago, and since then, I never stop. I go there once a month on once every other month. And my classes are always full, and paper marbling is a very fun class. Again, after my presentation, if you feel like enrolling, if there are some empty space, maybe you will have a call. Okay, so if you want to know something about marble paper uh, in a scholar way about history of marble paper, that is the book. This is the book. You need to have, I think, $95 is the price of this book, but it's a very well done book, and that's where I got all my information on marble paper. This is the main source of some information, especially historically. Then this is the other book that I have. It happened I found this book. This book is from a Japanese guy. Here it is. He's studying in London. I think he's from a wealthy family. Japanese. He went to London to study the proper whatever English school, I don't know. And so he fell in love with marble paper, and he collect books, all books. So in this book, in his book, there are picture of all books and some more information about marble paper, history of marble paper. And he married a German marbler, okay? And he wrote this book to teach to the Japanese how the Western marbling is done, okay? So this will be my book for reference for some old books. And again, the golden age of book was 1800 and 1850, 70, 80. There were some beautiful books were produced. Okay, so let's start here. Stone pattern. Okay, that's again where maybe the name of marble paper comes, because the stone pattern can remind you about the design on marble. Okay, so this is the most common pattern, and then you can see that's the book. That's a beautiful book from England. Okay, this is 1930. It's kind of late. They were still doing some very good masterpiece. Okay, you can see the end paper and the edge are marble. Then nonpareil. Okay, nonpareil. This is an old pattern from 1569. It says on the bottom of the pictures, it says this pattern. There is a copy of the New Testament from 1569. So this pattern is almost 500 years old. Let me stop here because I forgot to tell you that marbling use this kind of tool, this kind of rakes with nails, rakes with pins, a double rake, and then this little one. Okay, so the pattern I was showing you in the picture is done with this little guy. Okay, so marbling use an array of combs and rakes to produce all this pattern that I'm going to show you. And let's go back there. Okay, so this is the nonpareil. Beautiful pattern, historical, and many books were made with this beautiful paper. Here, this is my version of a nonpareil. Then this one, another beautiful book, historical. In that time, they used to make many books with this kind of idea of paper. It's called moiré, it's called Spanish wave. And so there are many books like this. And I have one. Let me see if I can find it. I think I move, yes. Okay. See, this is a book I restored. I think you can see the kind of wave on top of a stone pattern. So this is the moiré. This is a book from now 9,000 and something, but it's the beginning of 9,000. And this is another version of the same paper. Okay, it was a book that has the cover, and then this was the inside the end paper. Okay. So that was the book. Okay, and yeah, this is another version of the called Spanish wave. This is a modern version. Okay, it's called Ripple. Okay, and please note that most of the time I use very few colors. Okay, and I use a lot the color wheel. Again, you did the series of colors, and I can relate with that because I use a lot the color wheel. So it's always good to know how the color wheel work. Okay. Okay, I have a spam call, I think. Let me stop, mute my phone. Okay. And this is my version on Moire. Okay. It's a very interesting, very interesting pattern, and it's always a surprise. You cannot plan very well how it goes. You just have to do it and see what happens. And somebody says this is one of the most complex pattern in marble. Okay, the moire. And this is another version. Okay, these are very amazing, amazing how they have been produced. Okay, sometimes it's a gift. Okay, sometimes I will talk about and say, oh, this paper is a gift because it's a gift from the universe. I think it rewards all my effort. I do a lot of effort. Okay, so if you do some effort, maybe the universe rewards you with some good paper that you like. Okay, then this pattern I call is called chevron. They could be a big chevron, small chevron. I call it ancestral pattern, okay, because I found this pattern on a pottery of Egyptian pottery. It was like 5,000 years ago. It was 300,000 before Christ. Okay, so making a calculation is 5,000 years ago. And so now you can do this pattern on the cappuccino too, on a chocolate cake. Okay, it's a very simple one. That's why I call ancestral pattern, because it's something very intuitive. And let's see if I can share this. Okay, basically this is okay. Maybe you will see upside down, but the idea is you do a movement going up, in this case with a rake. Could be this rake. I'm going up following the arrow, and then I shift, and then I come back in the middle. You see the segmented line? Okay, so that's the principle of a chevron. Okay, up and then down in the middle, and then you create the pattern that I was just showing you. Okay, the chevron. Then oops, then this is the another version of the chevron. Then we have this pattern: fountain, palm, fern, or pineapple. All different names. Okay, from here, let's say this again is a kind of historical pattern, but again, different books. Not all books agree on the names. Okay, that's why I put 4 names that you can find other books calling this pattern. Okay, it's a beautiful pattern. This is another version, just using purple and orange. Okay, same idea, similar color, a little bit different. This was a spectral fountain, I call it, because they are the color of the rainbow. Okay, all surrounded by black. Then why not undulating? Okay, so you can, if you undulate with the rakes instead of coming straight, you undulate, you can create what we called a wave fountain. Meaning this. Okay, with the rake, instead of going, let's see, straight like this, you can go in this way with the S movement of a sinuous movement, okay? That's the only two things you can do on the water. Or you go straight, or you go with a curvy and a curvy movement, okay? That's the only two movement that you can do on the water, okay? So we are here. Then, again, we are still in the historical pattern. This is a beautiful one. It's called, I call it spiral. Some people call it curl or French snails. Okay. Beautiful pattern. There are 3 or 4 versions of this. The main idea is that you do a spiral. This is the movement you do on the water with the one nails. In this case is I use a rake like this, but the movement of every single nail, it should be something like that. You go with the spiral going inward, okay? That's one way or my way to do it, okay? There are other ways, and we are all different approaches. So this is our spiral. And then this is a beautiful one. I say spiral with nonpareil because from now on, we are going to use the basic pattern that I show you, especially the nonpareil and the chevron, which this is the chevron, and this is the nonpareil. Okay, so nonpareil and chevron are the base for many other patterns, okay? So this is a spiral on top of a nonpareil. Then you can make a spiral on top of a stone pattern, okay? Or you can do a spiral on top of a small chevron. Then there is another version. You just stretch, you add the paint horizontally, and then you make little spiral. Or you can do big and small spiral. Why not? Okay. So we have seen what I call, nobody calls it, okay? I call it the spiral family because they are all the same movement, okay? Maybe with different background, but that's my family of spiral. Oh, then again, I put the color in kind of line, and sometimes I'm a member of an artist association, okay, in Carson City, and so they do show, and sometimes I put something for fun, okay. I put in a frame, and I try to sell it. This one I sold it, okay, and the title was "All Colors Are Connected." Okay, makes sense. There are all the lines with the spiral; they are integrating each other. So that was a fun thing I did. Then the family of double rake. This is another big family, and this is the double rake. So there are 2 lines of nails, okay, and normally is moved in a S movement. Okay, we do an S when we use this rake, and family of double rake here. This is the original one, peacock. Okay. This one, the bouquet. The bouquet is done on top of a nonpareil using a double rake. Okay, this was a beautiful bouquet. It's a very popular pattern in Florence and in Venice. There is still some old stationery store, and they sell a lot this pattern. They even show to the tourists, especially in Florence. I have some students that came to San Francisco to my class, and they said to me, oh, you know, I was in Florence and they showed me how this pattern was done. Okay, so this is the signature of Florence and Venice, I think. Okay. Then there is this version. It's called Fleur de Lis. Okay. This is a very detailed Fleur de Lis. Okay, I'm very happy with this pattern. And very interesting, intriguing. It's not very common to see this pattern. Then again, this is another Fleur de Lis. And then there is the tornado. And this is a small tornado with a little chevron, and then it's tornado. It's very intriguing. Again, this is very detailed. They're very difficult to make this pattern, okay? To make that nice, okay? Then angel wings. Angel wings. Now, from now on, I think we are on pattern that they are not historical. They are more modern patterns, and especially produced here, I think, in the United States. There have been very creative people, and they have developed these patterns, which are kind of, let's see if I can share the philosophy, okay? So we talk about this kind of pattern. Okay, you go in a rake, you go straight, and you come down in the middle, okay? The philosophy of the angel's wings or angel's pattern is that you go straight up, and then you come down bisecting your line. Okay, that is the philosophy of all the angels patterns. Okay, it's a very cool name. They call angel everything that there is an angel is it seems to be very good. Okay, so let's be there. Angels pattern. Okay, there's another variation, very detailed, with a very small chevron. This is another one. I'm not sure about the name. If is a different kind of movement. So this is my kind of my design. Okay. Again, this is an angel pattern with a small chevron. Then this is another variation of a pattern, is waved nonpareil. Okay, so I use a nonpareil, and then I go side to side with a rake, and I create this pattern. This is another version. Then this one, I even skip the nonpareil. I just wave, putting the paint in a special direction. I call it slalom, okay? There's no name for this pattern. So I invented, it was winter time. No, I invented. I just call it that way, okay? So when I did the first time this idea, it was winter time, and we were skiing, and you can see this kind of pattern from coming down the mountain. you see the pattern of the ski, so that's why I call it slalom. Now, this is a kind of a group of patterns, depends what kind of rake you use, the spacing of your nails. You can have different looks, okay? I want to share with you the philosophy, okay? So again, we start from the chevron, you go up, and you come back in the middle. Or you can do this. You go up, instead of coming back, you just come back with an S movement, okay? So this is the philosophy behind all our beloved chevron, waved chevron. See, this is another one, blue, the family of blue. This one, a very detailed one. Then, these are very complex. Again, there's no old books with this pattern, okay? This pattern is called double cable. And the pattern that I use is the small chevron. Then again, double cable. Instead of using the small chevron, you use the nonpareil. And that's how it looks. This is another double cable. There is no chevron, no nonpareil. It's just a simple line of color, and then they are worked in this way. Again, if I change the spacing of the nails, I can obtain very intriguing pattern, okay? This was a gift. I tried to reproduce this many other times. I cannot, unless I have to spend a lot of time, which I haven't done yet, to be successful. So this is a gift. Then you can do the same thing. Instead of going straight, you go again with the wavy line, okay? So this is, I call it waved single cable. Then again, this is a different spacing. It's almost three-dimensional. Again, this was another gift. I try to reproduce them, but I need really to focus on choosing the right combs and rays. Where I'm going, this is silly thing, okay? I made blue tulips. So it is possible. And these are, what is, fantastic flower, we can call them, or whatever, imaginative flowers, okay? It's possible to do flower or to do kind of drawing on top of the marble paper. So that's something I want to do in the future. That's the two silly thing I have just done, but I want to do more, experiment more. And there is a the Turkish, they have developed this style, is called Ebru, and they do all these kind of things, okay, flower, and they are master on this. Then, where I'm going, I've done some good study on over marbling, okay, especially with stone patterns. Over marbling is that you marble 2 times, meaning you first marble a stone pattern, for example, then you let it dry, then you put the primer again, because marble paper has a primer, okay, to help to absorb the paint. So I marble 1 time, I let it dry, I put the primer again, and I marble a 2nd time, okay? So over marbling, there's a lot of potential, has not been explored. Okay, so that's what I'm doing this. And this is over marble stone pattern on one color. The pattern becomes more complex and intriguing. Okay, then over marbling with metallic. Okay, this was with gold. This is another picture, different. Okay, it's very difficult to make good picture out of gold. It doesn't show so much. Okay, but at least you can get an idea. They're beautiful, beautiful. You can do even silver. You can do nice metallic paint. Very simple in this idea over marbling. Then you can over marble with big dots and metallic. Okay, this was there is a pearl and silver, I think, on top of this pattern. This is just dots, and on top I put gold. Okay, you can make very, very, very complex and interesting pattern. Okay, then you can over marble with chevron. You can make big chevron, small chevron. Okay, there are multiple possibilities, meaning this could be one idea. You marble 2 times with the chevron in the same vertical direction, or you can put one marbling in vertical and the second one horizontal. This again is vertical. This is small chevron, one vertical, one horizontal. Same story. And this one, okay? Very complex. Then you can over marble with curvy line. Again, one pattern was vertical and one pattern was horizontal. Okay, this is a wave pattern. Then you can do this. Okay. Then you can marble with nonpareil. Okay, this is kind of a detail. Basically, you marble the first time, and then the second time you marble, you turn the pattern 180 degrees. Okay, so that's how you obtain this. This is a detail. And this is a gift from the universe. Okay, this is my gift from the universe. It's very interesting. The picture doesn't show. The first marbling was purple. It was a purple fountain, and then was over marbled with the copper. Okay, so copper on top of purple, and very beautiful scene by real. Okay, the picture cannot show his beauty, its beauty. Okay. Then again, this is over marble red fountain. Then where I'm going to work, I'm working with few colors. And if you don't manipulate too much the paint, you can create something like this. It reminds of flames. Then same movement. And this is something that again, I solved it. It was all shades of blue. There is a light blue, there is a blue, there is a teal, and there is a indigo kind of blue. Okay, plus some white. So this was a very, very quiet, I say, very, blue is a very quiet color, calming. So that's what I did. Then this pattern is experimenting. This is a modern pattern. It's called chrysanthemum. It's beautiful. Okay, very simple. That's another thing that I'm going to explore more. See how the potential, you can make very, very beautiful paper in this way. Same philosophy, very particular. I don't know this one, but again, to show some experimentation. Then there is a lot of room to do very detailed miniature angel wings. Okay, this could be one. This is another one. This is another one. I put question mark because there is no definition anymore or what could be the name unless you invent one. Again, this is very detailed, angel wing style. This again, something very particular. This one too. This one, there are kind of reverse arches. One is going one direction, the other is going the other direction. This is another picture of the same idea. Again, I haven't seen these kind of patterns. These are my production, okay? Again, this kind of different idea. There is an arches and a chevron. Same story. And this one too is very particular. This is a gift. I try to reproduce it other time, but never comes the same. Okay. Same philosophy of this pattern, but without stretching the paint, without mixing the paint. I just do the final movement without manipulate the paint that was applied with just drop of paint, okay, just dots. Same pattern, different variation. Another one. Another variation, you don't manipulate, you put just drop on the water, geometrical drop, and then you just do the final movement without any stretching, any mixing of the paint. And these are all same philosophy. Even this one, very particular, very particular. I try to reproduce them, not possible. Then, last thing, special patterns for scarves or fabric, okay? This is, I'm working on this to create interesting big shapes or put the color in a line. And this is similar to the slalom that I showed you before, okay? So these are studies I'm doing for fabric patterns, okay, of marble scarves. They are long, so the pattern could be different. Then I finish with this one, and I said the mystery of marbling, because when in the water for marbling, we used to put a seaweed, okay, it's called carrageenan. It's a seaweed that make the water more dense, okay, so the paint can float on the surface. So the seaweed is organic. So your water for marbling after 2 or 3 days goes bad, okay? So for strange reaction, I don't know what happened. So when my water went bad, when I was putting the drop on top of the surface, instead of becoming round, they got this shape like a star. I haven't done anything. This is something that creates by itself on the surface of the water. Okay, so mystery of marbling. There are still things we don't understand. And so This is another gift from the universe, let's say. Okay. Then I almost done. Okay. So how I use my marble paper and fabric. I have done a lot of marble paper. So I have done a lot of experiments. So I do some paper bags for gift. I do decorative boxes, mostly with fabric. Okay. So this is a clamshell. I do box with 2 drawers. This is a hatch-top box. Some of these are class that I teach, okay? 1-day class. And I provide the fabric, and in 1 day, we do this box. This is a box with 3 drawers. This is I call the sewing box. So there is a special compartment on the top, and on the bottom, you can put all your sewing items. Secretary box. This is a very complex box because it's diagonal. So you have the diagonal drawers. Then I do this form of binding is called articulated binding, is a flexible binding. And I do gratitude journals. So this is some example. This is the articulate binding. There are strips of cardboard, so the book is flexible. And this is another picture, okay? Then I use marble fabric as book cloth of serious book, okay? Sometimes I get to some books with the content. This was a cookbook from Sweden. There was not a cover, so I made this kind of cover, and I wrote the title on the spine. This is a detail on the inside of the book. This again was the book. You can see I made my own handband. And this was another book. It was a black fabric with gold, and then the title. Okay. Sometime I do this kind of books for very special books. Okay. Then I finish with scarves and textile. This is my tray for doing the scarf. These are the scarf drying in the golden days of marbling. Before I built my studio, I was drying the scarf in the sun outside. This again historical. This was inside my living room, and I built this apparatus to dry the scarves. And then these are some picture of scarves. Okay. Okay, just a gallery. Okay, these are a class that I teach in, especially in Reno, the Museum of Art. We were teaching again scarves. You see, we are in action, and more action pictures. And here we are just doing an over marble. This lady, she did a kind of leaves on the water, on the scarves, and she did 2 times. Then with another lady, she was a quilter. She took my class on fabric marbling, and then she did this kind of quilt, okay? And then we took a picture, okay? And then the future. You can see I have this big tray, this big size, and I want to do some kind of big fabric to do some kind of simple clothing. Okay, so maybe in the future I will do some kind of clothes for myself. I want to wear something that has been marbled by myself. Why not? Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm done. We are good with the time. There is some time for question.
Yes, there's about 7 minutes.
Okay, so
see it.
Sorry about all this picture, about all these colors, but that's why I often was interesting, intriguing, and the most difficult part is to put picture together because I have so many papers to show.
Yeah.
And then I keep doing paper because I'm selling it to in some place in San Francisco, the Center for the Book, they sell my paper. There is the American Bookbinding Museum in San Francisco too, and they are selling my paper. And so I'm selling my paper when I go.
Yeah.
And I will be selling some paper, bringing some paper up north to you. And if you want some of my paper, some of my books, I will be selling them
Oh,
during my 2 days of class. Yeah.
and Pietro, there's a question in the chat, and Gail Trotter says, I had trouble with my natural pigments sinking. Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, I think natural pigments, I don't have any experience.
What pigment do you
Yeah,
use? Is it a marbling paint? Is it made for marbling?
the paint that I use is made for marbling. Yes, you
Yeah.
can make, we were saying, natural pigments. You can use any generic acrylics. Okay, you dilute it with water. You have to find the right proportion, but you can marble with them. The problem is this paint is not made for marbling.
Mhm,
Um, so now there is a lot of chemical in the paint for to satisfy the needs of painters. So
mhm,
they put some chemicals, sometimes some chemical that slow down the drying of the paint on the canvas, um,
mhm,
to make the paint more reflectant. I don't know. They do a lot of chemicals. They interfere with marbling, which is very delicate.
mhm,
Again, that's to answer to the question before. I don't have any knowledge of natural paint. Maybe it's more difficult to find the medium, the binder, and your colors. So they have a different chemistry.
mhm,
Uh, so that's why they fall on the bottom, because that's the tricky part of marbling is to tune your paint to be not to fall on the bottom, but to stay on the surface and to open. Okay, that's always the trickiest part.
mhm.
One of the tricky part in marbling. Yes, yes.
And then there's another question. There's so many, wonderful, beautiful comments. Um, One question about, will we make a scarf in the fabric workshop? So,
Oh, it has to be a special dedicated day on fabric. Yeah, yeah. Because you see, I have a big tray. I need to use a big tray.
so that's
Normally
not
it's a
part of this first workshop.
no, it should be a 2 day class. So
Okay.
it should be a day talking about fabric and talk extensively and practice. And then when you get experience, you do the second day, the scarves. Yeah, normally it's a 2 day class.
Okay.
And
So
yeah,
you'll be working on paper for this coming.
from this coming, we will do one day with paper and the second day will be fabric.
Oh,
Okay, so yeah, there are two. Um, yeah,
great.
because last year we did only paper,
Yeah.
and uh, I was asked to if it was possible to do fabric, so that's what we choose.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, because fabric needs a special talk. It's the same idea. The paint float in the same way on the surface, but the preparation of the fabric, the way you treat the fabric is a little bit different. So
Mhm,
there's a lot. It seems very simple and looks very nice when you watch me. Say, oh, nice. But then there are little details to pay attention. So that's my understanding. And so it's impossible to condense everything in one day. It's impossible. So, yeah.
yeah. Fabulous. And Julie followed up. She said, "Yay," in response to your
Okay.
response.
I
And
can
she
say yay
said,
too.
"What kind of fabric?"
Ooh, general rule is fabric that is a natural fabric.
Mhm.
Okay, but you can do on cotton, linen, um, hemp,
So fabric that
silk.
you could use
Silk,
for bookbinding.
yeah,
Yeah.
silk is beautiful too. Yeah, yeah.
And another question comes from Jan, and she says, "What do you mean by primer?" I think you mentioned double priming it, or primer for
Oh,
double marbling.
yeah. So normally before you marble, oh yeah, the paper too. Okay, so before you marble, you have to prime the paper. So you put a primer that helps the absorption of
Mhm.
uh, of the paint, because then the paint has been, it will be put to dry, uh, 5-10 minutes vertical. Okay, so all the water can run. Okay, so if you don't put any primer, the paint will kind of bleed. Okay, the color. So the primer helps to take all the color. Okay, if done correctly. And so then the paper, most all of the paper, they work. Okay, they have to be not glossy or semi-gloss. Um, and then you can, the the thickness of the water, of course, if you do bookbinding project, the thickness of the paper. If you do bookbinding projects, maybe you want a paper that is 70 pounds, 80 pounds, because you have to wrap around a cover of a book. Okay, or if I do a box, I need a paper that is not cardstock. Okay, but theoretically is according, you choose the paper according on what you want to do, the use that you um yeah, the use that you uh,
And
yeah.
Sally's comment is beautiful,
Okay.
hypnotic, which is
I've
what,
seen it. Thank you,
yeah,
Sandy.
which is, I second that, and I'm sure a lot of people think that. And uh, thank you so, so much. It was really lovely. So many patterns that I have never seen before. And so the work that you've been doing beyond the traditional patterns is really inspiring and exciting.
Yeah, and I had to say, in Italy, there was no, at the time, was in the 90s, there was no internet. There was no master to teach you how to do it. So
Mhm.
again, I had to learn everything by myself. I learned by mistake. And in Italy, it's still a secret. So there are corporations. There were corporations. So marbling was a secret.
Mhm.
And no, corporation is called a union. Okay, union of bookbinder, union of marble. So this was a secret in the past. Um, so when I came here, I started teaching. And when I started teaching, I said, okay, I don't want to have any secret. I want to share all that I know. And after making this decision, I really learn more and more. So I really improve my knowledge, my understanding of marbling after my decision of teach, and not having any secrets. So it came back to me a lot of more knowledge and understanding. So that's why I'm able to do this. I had to thank all my students and the decision I did, because and I'm still learning. There's not an end, okay? I'm just start to understand something about marbling, and I always have fun in doing this. When I marble, it's a special day, fun, and so that's a good
And
thing.
it comes through in the work. It's really delightful. There's so many comments of how beautiful it is. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. I wish I could be there. I have an
Oh,
obligation that weekend, so I can't.
oh.
Oh, have a wonderful time, everyone. Anyone who wants to sign up for the workshop, couple places left on the PSBA website. And I'm sure that you will have an amazing couple of days. So,
Yeah, and even all the students, we will have a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I will see you there. Whoever will come there, yes, we'll be there. We will
Okay.
see you there. Yes.
Thank you.